Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you? How are you all?
Sir, we are fine. How are you?
I'm also fine. Now, right now I will not teach you the direct indirect speech. Okay? I will start with the new chapter's introduction. Right? I will start the new chapter with the introduction. But this time, the chapter is not your prose, but it is your poetry. Wait for 2 minutes. We will see that only the 4-1. We will see that how many students. What why, Shreya? Sorry, Yesha. What why? What why? Reply. See, direct indirect speech that I won't teach you, but this time I need a board. Okay, you need a lots of examples when you have visualized all these things, so it is better that you will understand properly. That's why I don't want to teach you direct indirect speech, because tomorrow you have a no class. Tomorrow I will not take your online class. That's why today I am taking your online class right now. When Wednesday I will take the class, that time I will teach you this thing, direct indirect speech. Wait for 2 minutes. How many students will join the class? 6. Why are not the other students join the class? No, not charity, beta. Poem. Poem, I will start the Song of the Brook. Songs of the Brook. Yes, Song of the Brook, that is the poem. Write in your first chapter. First unit, the name of the poem, that is Song of the Brook, and it is very beautiful poem. Very, very beautiful poem. That when you learn this poem, it is very extremely, what we can say is that extremely nice poem, because in this poem you will compare the human life and natural life, right? One is mortal while another is immortal. One is mortal while another one is immortality. You know that what is the meaning of mortal and immortal? Do you know the meaning of mortal? Mortal means the things which is die, which is end over, and immortal means which is never died, which is never end of it. That is the known as mortal and immortal. Right? Here the poet compares the human life with the, or we can say is the Brook's life with the human life. Here we know that from baby, now we are taking a birth, and at the age of some of the age we will die. But while the Brook once take a birth, he will never die. It's ultimate destination. Here the poet told us about the beginning of to ending of. Now its end means what? That is end. Its ultimate destination is what? That its ultimate destination is what we can say is to make the sea. Because we know that. Now you have a question. So what is the meaning of Brook? First of all, you have this question in your mind. Am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? You have a question that what is the meaning of Brook?
Right, sir.
Right? So here the poet talk about Brook. Now Brook means what? That is a small river, beginning of the river. We can say that it looks like a stream also. Wait a minute, beta. I'll send a message in WhatsApp group that students will join the class. So we will start. Then two students join us, so I'll inform once again them that this is the new chapter's introduction. The chapter is poem. The name of the poem is Song of the Brook. Now students, what you have to do? Leave two page, right? Leave two full page. Why? Because from next lecture, whenever I teach you direct indirect speech, so that time you have to some notes. If I wish to that you wish to write, so you can write it. Or tell me you want to write. You want to make the what we can say is you make a full notebook of textual, or you want to make a new note for the grammar. New note for the grammar means only small note, 100 pages notebook. What you want? Tell me. Tell me. Okay. No, beta, you cannot make the directly, because you should make the notebook of PA and term different. That's okay. If you wish to make the grammar notebook directly in middle of that part, you can make it. I have no problem. Okay. So this is your own choice. If you want to make a new notebook for the grammar, you can make it. I have no problem. Okay. Now see that. Song of the Brook. Brook means what? It is a small brimming river. Right? It is a smaller, that's the beginning of the river. We can say it's look like a stream. It's look like a stream. When it passes from the mountain, its birth is what? That is passing. It starts from the mountain. And when it starts from the mountain and at last make to what? The sea, the ocean, the sea. That is known as Brook. That is the final destination, ultimate destination he made to his ultimate destination. Another thing is what? That here the Brook's life is compared with the human life. The Brook's life is compared with the human life. Here you can see the theme. The theme is what? Mortal versus immortality. Now we know that human being is mortal. Mortal means what? That we will die at the age of particular time. We will die. It might be 70 years, 80 years, 90 years, 100 years or more. Nowadays we know that our age is no ratio because of the COVID. We will die at 30, 40 years age also. Right? So what is it? At our time is over, we will die. Right? But at final is what? We will never die. We cannot say that. Right? Some who will die early, some who will die late. So what is it? But the Brook will never die. Do you think that river will die? Tell me, do you think that river will die? Tell me. Do you think that the river will die, the natural element die?
No, sir.
Natural elements never die. But it sometimes is grower and lays. It happens. The river, sometimes it's very high. The water level has become very high. And during that time, we call that it's flood. And sometimes what happens? The river will never die. The size of the river is decreased. Right? जो उसके बहने का तरीका होता है वो थोड़ी कबार कम हो जाता है, लेकिन ऐसा हमने नहीं कह सकते कि वो खत्म ही हो जाएगी, वो मर जाएगी. We will never say this thing. Got this thing? Got it?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right?
sir.
Okay. Another thing that is what? That here the poet describes the picture of Brook is vividly. Right? Describe the picture very vividly. Here the theme is also that the world around us. Now I told you that first chapter it is related to what? It is related to the animals. While second chapter that is related to the trees. While third, that is your poem, it is related to river and water bodies. So here that is the water body. Okay, write down in index. First of all, we will discuss the objectives. Write down in index. We will discuss the objectives. Same last chapters. Right, हमने पिछले चैप्टर में जिस तरह से लिखा हुआ है वैसे ही हम लिखेंगे. तो पहले हम क्या लिखेंगे इसके बारे में? Objectives लिखेंगे. Write down first of all objectives. Give the name of the chapter, poem 1, song of the Brook.
सर ये पोयम के बाद हम चैप्टर 2 डन करेंगे.
हाँ हाँ. Because the PA1 syllabus is 1, 2, 3 and 2 poems. First, second and third chapter, and then after 2 poem is there. Poem 1 and poem 3. So, shall I start to give you the objectives? Shall I start to give you the objectives? Do you want to see the rabbit, everyone? Do you want to see the rabbit?
Yes, sir.
Don't make the noise, okay? I'll show you. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
देखो जंपिंग की है, देखा? दिख रहा है? साइड में ये जो ट्रीज है ना, वहां पर ही है.
Yes, sir.
I'll put for hold. I'll put for you hold.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you see that? Few of you can get it. देखा? देखने को मिला कि नहीं मिला?
Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, no, sir.
वो एक्चुअली क्या था? Brownish color.
दो rabbit.
It look like a brownish color, and you know that backside the atmosphere is also the greenery is there, and it look a keen color. Who is shouting? Dia? Who is shouting this way? So might be possible that you cannot see properly. Okay, once again it will come, then I will show you again. Okay, now, so write down first objectives, write down first objective of this poem. To read the poem aloud, and enjoy the sound patterns, Second,
Sir, repeat करो ना first one.
I will speak into English. This is your English class, okay? To read the poem aloud, A-L-O-U-D, aloud, and enjoy the sound pattern, Second one, to appreciate the Brook's perspective, To appreciate, to appreciate, to appreciate.
Sir, first repeat.
Soham, so what are you doing? Beta, I'll repeat 3 to 4 times, dear. To read the poem aloud and enjoyed the sound patterns to appreciate the Brook's sound patterns. Okay, number 2. Now second one, to appreciate the Brook's perspective, to appreciate the Brook's perspective as the first person speaker, as the first person speaker. Got it? Did you complete it? To appreciate the Brook's perspective as the first person speaker. Third one. To note the allegorical, allegorical, A-double-L-E, G-O-R-I-C-A-L, A-double-L-E-G-O-R-I-C-A-L, allegorical value in the Brook, apostrophe S, okay, B-R-O-O-K, then apostrophe S, Brook's immortality, that you have to write down into inverted comma, write down the immortality spelling, I-double-M-O-R-T-A-L-I-T-Y, immortality, inverted comma over, as contrasted with mentality.
Sir, your voice is not clear, sir.
Okay, I'll send into the chat box 3 of these objectives. Okay, but do not send any type of messages. I'll send it one by one. I'll send 3 of these objectives in chat box. Okay, so you can read it and then you can write it in your notebook also. Right now you can write it. Complete it or not? Hurry up. Now first objective is what? To read the poem aloud and enjoy the sound pattern. Now here you can read the different kinds of the sound pattern. Right? Somewhere it is a chatter, somewhere is a patter. So these all are sound patterns that you have to learn of this in this poem and you have to enjoy it. Second, the poet, it is a first person speaker, right? Perspective is the first person speaker. Now you can see that in the poem here says, I come from the haunt of the good ten hand, then till last the Phillips from I flow. You can see that I chatter over stony ways, with many of her craves I fret, then I chatter, I wind about, right? See that. Here you can see that majority the poem begins with the I. Each stanza begins with the I. So it is what? That is a first person speaker in this poem. Same way that first chapter, that is the frog, it is a first person narrative story, while it is a first person speaker in this poem. Understood this thing? Do you understood this thing or not, beta?
Yes, sir. I understood.
Give me the answer in chat box. Give me the answer in chat box. I want everyone's reply in chat box. Whenever I am saying that, do you understand or not? So you should give the reply yes sir, no sir, whatever is there. It must be that you should reply me. Third one, allegorical value. Allegorical value means what? As I told you, that theme is what? Mortal versus immortal. Now once the Brook is start, he will never die. But once the human being start take a birth, it means after a few years, 50 years, 60 years, 100 years, if whatever the lifespan, he will or she will die. Got this thing? So here we can learn the contrast between mortality versus immortality. So here our objective is over. Now I'll give you the brief introduction of this poem, that what we have to learn. So here the Brook says that the journey starts, the Brook's journey starts from where the water birds live and rushes into the sunlight, right? Where there is the birds are living, water birds like coot, heron, ducks, these birds are living. The journey starts from that area and there is a lot of sunlight sparkling along the way. Then after that, it flows down a valley, hurrying down the ranges of fields and passing under the bridges of several villages beyond the Phillips farm. Now, if the rivers are, we cannot say only flowing and flowing and flowing. Somewhere its path is broad, so somewhere its path is narrow. Somewhere the river passes through the bridge, right? It means passes through the bridge means what? The bridge are built and the river is passes under the bridge also. We can say that in Morbi. So Machu river passes under that Genda bridge or not? Right or wrong? Right, the Machu river passes through Genda bridge or not, Genda sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you go to Baroda, sorry, Surat, so that time there are 3 rivers passes. Sabarmati river, then near Baroda there is a Maisagar river, Bharuch. When you pass it, so there is that one, Narmada river. When you pass it from the Surat, so you can pass that, Tapi river is there. So see, in that way you have to passes the thing. Passes the river and the bridges are also there. So river pass under the bridges. Even says that it repeats the refrain that man may not live forever, but the Brook itself goes to forever. Right? We took the birth, we will die. We take the birth, we will die. We take the birth, we will die. But the Brook passes only same way. It will never die. It will never die. Even says that it makes a different kinds of sound as it flows over the stones or swirl around them and winds along the curving the pathway across the fields and fallow ground. right? So we know that when the river passes, so both the sides there are the lots of bushes and all these things, right? Bushes, then some small plant. There is also passes. Its path is somewhere is very easy, while somewhere its path is very difficult. Another thing that there is a stone, swirls, it is also flow with them, right? The brooks will not flow alone. With in her path, there is whatever the stones arise, whatever the swirls also there, right? Curving pathways also, there is a curving pathways also there. It flows through the farms and through the fallow also, fields also. It winds along with the path carrying a floating water or floating flower or different kinds of fresh water fish, right? Not only that stones and all these things, with some of the flowers which is also floating on upside, and even the freshwater fish also passes in that water, depending on the unevenness of its beds and color of the sand, right? Uneven bed, somewhere it is a very broad, while somewhere it is a very narrow bed. Bed means river bank, river bank. Even says that the color of the sand, the brook looks silver or golden as it draws along whatever floats on it. Somewhere if there is a dark, so the area is also look like dark. Somewhere the sand is very thin, very what we can say is powder like. It's look powder like sand, so it's look like what, golden color. Somewhere dry, so it's look like a silver color, right? And as it draws along whatever floats on it to the river, as it curves and flows forever to join the river, it reminds us for our mortality, right? And finally, when the brook meets to its destination, its ultimate destination, that time what we have to realize, that it is continuously floating, while the human being is somewhere will die. That stanza by stanza when I'll explain this poem, so you can understand what is the poet want to say us. Understood this thing? Understood everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So here you have to compare the lifespan of what? Lifespan of human being and the brook, right? Mortality versus immortality. Mortality versus immortality. Value of the poem is mortality versus immortality. Okay, apart from any other doubt, you can ask me. The value of the poem is mortality versus immortality. Apart from any other doubt, you can ask me.
Sir,
Yes? Yeah.
ये dreaming मतलब dreaming.
Huh? What? Dreaming? I don't know, what are you asking me? I cannot understand. So what you want to ask me? Dreaming was full of water. Dreaming means full of water. Mortality versus immortality, that is your value. Mortality versus immortality, this is your value of the chapter. Now any other doubt?
Okay.
Now, next thing is what? When I will explain this poem, there are lots of hard words arises somewhere. You have to learn the sound pattern also. So remember this thing, that whenever I say this word because in this poem you will learn the lots of figures of speech. Now you have a question, sir, what is the meaning of speech? Am I right or wrong? Beta, once you have to switch on the mic, directly you have to switch off the mic.
Yes, sir.
Figures of speech means what? That the line is decorated with some element like simile, metaphor, repetition, hyperbole. These are these kinds of climax, anticlimax. These types of figures of speech, these all are the figures of speech. There are approximately 26 figures of speech, right? So you have to learn this thing in the poem, right? That somewhere it is used for the metaphor, so somewhere it is used for apostrophe, somewhere it is for personification, so while somewhere it is for hyperbole, so somewhere it is for simile. These kinds of different of figures of speech that you will learn in this poem, that you have to learn in this poem. So students, keep it in your mind that whenever I say that, okay, we will start this thing, it means we will start this thing and you should understand this poem very thoroughly. Got it? Got it, everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So here our introduction lecture is over, right? Here our introduction lecture is over. Apart from any other you have a doubt, you can ask me, then after we will leave the meeting.
No, sir.
No doubt? No doubt?
No, sir. Sir.
Okay. So, bye-bye everyone. Take care.
Bye, sir.
Bye.